Today in our final touch, how about a game of table tennis?
How about thousands of games of table tennis? This was the scene in the German city of Dusseldorf. Over 1,000 boys and girls set a new world record for being the largest number of people playing table tennis at the same time. The 1,252 youngsters, who also included some with disabilities, played the game for 10 minutes. This was at a football stadium. Table tennis tables were in use at the same time. I need to get a table tennis table. What are they doing? Ping pong table?
Yeah, ping pong, yeah.
There you go.
That'll do it for us at 4, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. News 3 at 5 starts.
And right now at 5, a message of love following an act of hate over the weekend in Madison.
The president's tariff threats are hitting home as Wisconsin-based Harley-Davidson to move some production out of the U.S.
This is News 3 at 5.
Thanks for staying with News 3. Cleanup continues at an LGBTQ-friendly bar in Madison after a cinder block was thrown through a window.
The owner of Plan B hopes that police find the vandal and has a message for those responsible. Our Jamie Perez caught up with them today and joins us now in the studio. Jamie?
That's right, guys. Obviously a very busy day for this owner, and after speaking with him, he says this is a story of triumph in the face of adversity, and what happened this weekend was a way for him to show his strongest belief that love will always win.
Corey Greason is a strong believer in positivity. In a world where violent crimes are so prevalent, he wants to spread the message that love trumps hate.
So my bar manager messaged me and said that somebody had thrown a cinder block through the window.
This cinder block, to be exact.
I just feel like the intent was there. Like, it's one thing if you pick up a stone and throw it, but it's like, it was like 40 pounds.
Replacing this will cost around $2,500. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but you can just imagine how he felt when he got that initial call.
At first I was shocked and sad and angry, but then it gave me a platform to spread love.
Love, a community that's all about that word.
We won't let hate stop us from celebrating our individuality and our community.
Despite the shattered glass that lines the windows and the front of the club, Corey's spirit is anything but broken.
Madison is strong in celebrating diversity and marginalized communities, and not to be discouraged, but find strength and hope in, these messages of a negative, We can turn it into a positive and promote more love than hatred.
Corey also mentioned that there were witnesses to the vandalism and a police report has been filed. They're hoping to identify him through surveillance video, but he's described as a tall black man who was wearing a backwards baseball cap, and anyone with any information is asked to call police.
We'll continue to follow it. Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie. All right, let's get a look at your first alert weather with Karen Swanson joining us in the Weather Center. Karen?
Hi there. It was another beautiful day today, although we did see a few more clouds this afternoon than we saw this morning. And along with that, temperatures were pretty comfortable, but we're looking for some high heated humidity as we head toward the weekend. And with that, we do have alert days in the forecast for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. High temperatures reaching the upper 80s to the low 90s with heat index values well into the 90s, even approaching 100 degrees for Friday and for Saturday. But right now, looking pretty quiet across much of the state of Wisconsin. The main thunderstorm activity is off to our west right now. Eventually, some of those thunderstorms make their way across southern Wisconsin as we head into late tonight and into the day tomorrow. Temperatures right now are anywhere from the 60s over toward Lake Michigan to some 70s and 80s elsewhere. 76 degrees here in Madison, 79 in Janesville, 76 degrees in Platteville. Our temperatures this evening will fall through the 70s with mostly cloudy skies, some breezy winds out of the east-southeast. By early tomorrow morning, we're down to the middle 60s. We'll see off and on showers and some thunderstorms during the day with a high of 73. There may be just an isolated stronger storm embedded in there, and then behind that is when we really heat up. We'll talk more about that forecast in a few minutes.
Karen, thank you. An iconic American and Wisconsin product will now likely be produced increasingly in Europe. Harley-Davidson announced the partial shift in production today, triggering new alarms about the effects of a trade war. Political reporter Jess Garp in our news center tonight with the very latest. Jess?
Well, lawmakers are reacting tonight to this trade issue hitting home right here in Wisconsin. Harley-Davidson saying in an SEC filing that an increase in tariffs tariffs on imported motorcycles is expected to increase the cost by more than $2,000 per bike. So they say they'll shift some production overseas to avoid it. You'll remember President Trump met with Harley officials in February of last year, lauding them as an American company he would champion. Tonight, Governor Scott Walker isn't criticizing the administration's tariff changes or Harley's announcement, but instead saying he'd like to get rid of all tariffs.
If we can put the pressure on and realize the interest of the United States is not to put more tariffs on, but rather to create a level playing field where there are no tariffs in the future, that really, whether it's Harley-Davidson, whether it's an agriculture entity, whether it's another manufacturer, that's really got to be our end game.
Governor Walker said he was in Washington last week to try and encourage more foreign companies to bring businesses to Wisconsin, but the shift in production at Harley is a sign that foreign investment in the U.S. may be easier said than done. The SEC filing from Harley shows the company stands to lose $30 to $45 million because of tariffs before the end of this year and $100 million a year after that. It's unclear if or how many jobs may be affected in Wisconsin by this announcement, where motorcycles are produced in the Milwaukee area. The company is expected to offer another update on July 24th.
Well, just a massive global story with Wisconsin ties today. Jess Carpenter, News Center. Jess, thanks. Governor Walker has declared today Wisconsin Cheese Day, and in its honor, area cheesemakers are celebrating the $43 billion industry in Wisconsin, including Chalet Cheese Co-op, that's in Monroe. They're waiting to see how newly imposed tariffs on dairy from countries like Mexico and Canada will affect local cheesemakers. Some worry the retaliatory tariffs, which come after President Trump's steel and aluminum tariffs, could push cheesemakers out of foreign markets.
The Madison City Clerk's office is mailing out absentee ballots ahead of the Wisconsin primary election in August. With summer vacations, the clerk's office wants to make sure that everyone gets a chance to vote. If you know you're going to be gone on Election Day, you can request an absentee ballot in person, through the mail, or online. But due to the nature of primary elections, absentee voters should pay close attention.
This is the election where you have to pay close attention to the instructions, because it's as if 5 different parties are each having their own election, but you can only vote in one of those elections.
Ballots that don't identify a party but vote in more than one party primary will be invalidated. If you need an absentee ballot, the clerk's office will be mailing them through August 9th. In an effort to keep its schools safer, the Janesville School District no longer wants to host polling sites.
Our Keely Arthur is live in Janesville, where the council there is considering this switch. Keely?
This is a decision that will impact nearly a third of Janesville voters, but those in favor of the switch say it needs to happen simply because of safety issues. Now, the city council will be voting on this switch tonight at 6, switching Edison and Franklin middle schools and Washington Elementary from polling centers into the Rock County Job Center, Faith Lutheran Church, and Mount Calvary Lutheran, respectively. Now, I caught up with the city clerk, Dave Godek, who was tasked with finding the new locations. He said his goal was to make voting as easy as possible.
And so I think these places all do that. They all have really good parking. They've got nice large rooms that we're able to use. They're excited to host the polling. So I think it can hopefully be the start of good partnerships moving forward with these 3 facilities.
Now, city council meeting in less than an hour to discuss this topic. If they do approve that switch, you will be voting, or those voters rather, will be voting at a different location for the August primary to those new centers. We're going to bring you, it's very windy here, we're going to bring you the decision on News 3 at 10, and we'll also hear from the school district as to why they say this switch really did need to happen. Back to you.
All right, we'll get an update tonight at 10. Keely Arthur live in a breezy Janesville. Keely, thank you.
Keely.
City council members there are also considering a proposal that would let police write tickets for possessing marijuana or drug paraphernalia instead of taking those people to jail. The Janesville Gazette there says right now officers bring those suspects to the police station or the Rock County Jail for processing, but many of those offenses are then reduced to ordinance violations anyway. The change would allow those minor offenses to be processed much like traffic tickets instead, allowing officers to stay out on patrol.
House Republicans face another week of fighting over immigration. The president continues to tweet about U.S. immigration policies days after signing an executive order reversing his administration's practice of separating migrant children from their parents at the border. The president said he was happy he signed the executive order, but is still calling for an overhaul of immigration laws. House Republican aides say GOP leaders plan to introduce new legislation later this week. Britain's Prince William is in the Middle East on a 5-day royal visit. Today, he toured a city in Jordan and met with students and Syrian refugees. Prince William is the first British royal to make an official trip to Israel and the Palestinian territories 70 years after British forces withdrew from the Holy Land.
The Supreme Court will not rule on a case of the teen convicted of rape and murder and that was featured in the Netflix series Making a Murderer. This leaves a lower court ruling against Brendan Dassey in place. He was just 16 when he confessed that he had joined his uncle, Stephen Avery, in raping and murdering photographer Teresa Halbach. Dassey's attorneys say he is intellectually disabled and was pressured into a false confession. One of the attorneys for Stephen Avery, featured in Making a Murderer, stopped by News 3 this afternoon. Dassey's attorneys can still try to get him a new trial, but they'd have to convince a judge that newly discovered evidence warrants one.
The Oregon School District is making some changes ahead of the school year in hopes of keeping kids healthier. A UW-Madison study recently found that breaks curb the spread of flu. That study also found that student absences for illnesses can serve as a warning sign of a potentially deadly outbreak. The Oregon School District will have a 4-day weekend in October, February, and April, which is a change from their previous 3-day weekends for teacher professional days during those months. Researchers say those breaks won't stop the flu, but it can help delay the spread of the flu. Still to come tonight at 5, there is a reason that parents stress bike safety to their children every year.
New research shows 25 children are treated in the ER for bike-related injuries in the time it takes you to do a load of laundry. And it looks like Russia did not prepare for World Cup fans as taps across bars run dry. That story just ahead. There's a dangerous wildfire burning in Northern California right now. It is the Pawnee Fire, about 20 miles from where a wildfire devastated California's wine country last year. Around 2,500 people have left their homes now. More than a dozen buildings and homes have been destroyed. Firefighters in California are also dealing with another major fire. This one about 80 miles to the northeast of that Pawnee Fire. That fire, the Lane Fire, has gone through about 3,000 acres.
With summer vacation underway, kids are spending a lot of time on their bikes, and that's why some new research is concerning for some parents. 25 kids every hour are treated in emergency rooms. That's according to a new study by Nationwide Children's Hospital. The study looked at kids ages 5 to 17 over a 10-year period, and the research shows how important it is to wear a helmet. One doctor says brain injuries account for 11% of all bike injuries.
10 to 14-year-olds tend to not wear the helmets as much, but that's the group that was injured the most, so we really need to encourage that age group.
If you don't do these things and you own a bike, you could really get hurt.
Fewer than half of the states in the U.S. have bike helmet laws, even though studies show wearing a helmet reduces injuries and keeps kids safer. Another thing to note from the study, boys are more likely to get hurt than girls.
Doctors are calling the new numbers relating to children and opioids scary. More than 11,000 calls about kids' exposure to an opioid called buprenorphine were reported between 2007 and 2016. And among those, the overall exposure rate per 1 million increased by more than 215%. From 2007 to 2010, these numbers are part of a story published in the journal Academics. Nearly 90% of the incidents occurred with children under the age of 6. For the first time, the FDA is giving a cannabis-based drug its approval. The drug, known as Epidiolex, is used to treat 2 types of epileptic seizures. The drug is an oral solution that can be used in patients 2 and older. It's one of more than 80 active chemicals, yet unlike THC, it does not produce a high. The FDA has approved synthetic versions of some chemicals found in the marijuana plant for other purposes, including cancer pain relief.
Russia is seeing a sharp increase in beer sales since the start of this year's World Cup. Beer is not a popular drink among Russians, and sales have dropped 30% over the past decade. But bar managers say beer sales are beyond expectations and that many brewery owners are surprised. Whole Foods will soon offer discounts for Amazon Prime members at every U.S. store.
Starting Wednesday, Prime members can earn additional savings at Whole Foods. To get those discounts, just use the Whole Foods app at checkout or type in your Amazon-linked cell phone number. The deals will change every week. It's part of Amazon's increasing influence on the grocery chain, which the online retailer purchased for more than $13 billion last year. A new Facebook feature will show users how long they're spending on the social media platform. It's called Your Time on Facebook. The tool will reportedly show the average amount of time spent on the site each day over the past week. There will also be an option to set alerts for self-imposed time limits. All right, let's turn and take a look at our forecast. I know we're going to get toasty warm by the weekend. It was a pretty comfortable, cool start to the day. Karen Swanson on the backyard patio, and the wind's kicking up.
Yeah, we've had a bit of a breeze this afternoon, and along with that, it is feeling very comfortable. The dew points aren't too high, so not feeling terribly sticky at this point, but you'll really notice the heat and humidity by the time the weekend rolls around. Take a look at what we're seeing across the region right now. We do have just some thin clouds in some spots, kind of a mixture of clouds and sunshine right now across the state of Wisconsin. The thicker clouds are off to our west, and that's where we're seeing some rain showers right now as well. Some scattered showers and thunderstorms across parts of Iowa. Eventually, by late tonight and into tomorrow, we'll see some of that wet weather make its way here across southern Wisconsin. Our severe weather outlook for the rest of today into tonight shows that severe weather threat staying off to our southwest. Tomorrow it shifts just down to our south, so just clipping the far southern part of Wisconsin with that marginal risk area. So showing just an isolated chance of something becoming strong or severe generally during tomorrow afternoon or evening, but the better chances for that severe weather will stay off to our south tomorrow. High temperatures this week looking still to be in the 70s the next couple of days, but then it's off to the races starting Thursday all the way through the weekend. High temperatures will be close to 90 degrees at times, and when you factor in those dew points, the heat index values will feel even warmer. In fact, feeling more like 95 to 100 for both Friday and Saturday, and then feeling like the lower lower to the middle 90s on Sunday. So that's why we have those alert days in the forecast for Friday, Saturday, and for Sunday. Here's our time lapse from early this morning. This starts off around 4:45 this morning with these long days. We're seeing that sunrise pretty early, kind of a nice mixture of the clouds with the sunrise early today. Our almanac for today shows temperatures at 78 and 58. Normals for today are 81 degrees and 59. Right now in Madison at 76 degrees. Winds are breezy out of the east at 18 miles per hour. The air pressure is falling. We have temperatures in the upper 60s over toward Lake Michigan. The rest of us are seeing those 70s to near 80-degree readings. Across the rest of the region, we do have a lot of 70s and 80s showing up on the map, and we are going to be focused on that next low pressure system heading in our direction, bringing us those scattered showers and thunderstorms from late tonight through the day tomorrow. Those come to an end then late tomorrow night, and it looks like we should be mainly dry for the middle part of the week. That next system brings in another push of warm air, and that's going to really heat us up by Thursday and Friday. Tonight, 64 degrees, breezy, mild, with some thunderstorms arriving late tonight. Then tomorrow we'll see those off and on showers and thunderstorms during the day. Some breezy winds from the southeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour. That high tomorrow only at 73. Here's your future track forecast, seeing those clouds thicken up as we head through tonight. By 6 a.m. tomorrow, we are seeing a few showers and thunderstorms starting to develop across the southern part of the state, and we'll continue to see those off and on as we head through tomorrow afternoon. Those high temperatures making their way into the low 70s. Showers and thunderstorms should wrap up late tomorrow night, and most of those will be clearing out then by early on Wednesday morning. As far as precipitation totals, most areas looking at a general quarter to a half inch of rain, although there could be some isolated spots that check in with some higher totals if some of those storms track across you just right. So behind that system is when those temperatures really start to warm up by Thursday and Friday. Highs climbing through the 80s into the 90s. There are those alert days for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for that high heat and humidity. We do have a slight chance of seeing a thunderstorm Thursday night into early Friday, then looking mainly dry for the rest of Friday into Saturday. A better chance of some showers and thunderstorms arrive Saturday night into Sunday, looking at continued heat and humidity into next week. Now your first alert traffic, and here's the view from our John Nolan Drive and the Beltline camera from the Department of Transportation, seeing that slowing, especially in that eastbound direction right now. We did have one accident earlier. That was on 51, showing some lane closures at Tower Road, but those are now just open, but still seeing some slowing in both directions on 51, and also seeing that slowing all along both sides of the Beltline down to around 15 to 20 miles per hour. So eastbound times and speeds, 21 miles per hour from Verona Road over toward John Nolan Drive. Back in the westbound direction, that same stretch is traveling right around 36 miles per hour.
All right, Karin, thank you very much.
Sorry, Karin, thank you very much.
Sure thing.
When we come back, simple living is very popular right now.
But decluttering your life is not just a trend. It is big business these days. We're exploring what it takes to become a professional organizer. That's next at 5.
Away from your
Well, between closets and basements, we all need to find places to store our stuff.
Yeah, for some, the thought of getting rid of it may seem daunting, which is why they are hiring others to do it for them. Laura Podesta looks into the growing business of professional organization.
Alexis Belmoff admits she has too much stuff.
My thing has always been like, oh, I'll just put it in the closet, I'll put it under the bed.
So we'll just go through every single thing. Instead of tackling this mess alone, she hired Done and Done Home, a professional organizing business founded by this mother-daughter team.
What is the most difficult part of getting someone to get rid of their stuff?
The biggest sort of category would be sentimental items that are the hardest to get rid of.
Done and Done not only cleans out closets, donates unwanted items,
we'll donate,
and hauls away junk, clients get tips on buying quality over quantity. But it isn't cheap.
This was expensive, $2,000 for one day of organizing. That's like a vacation. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just a necessity. Like, for me, it is. Like, it's money well spent.
The business of organization is catching on.
More people are hiring organizers.
Jessica Kennedy is with the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals, which now has thousands of members in 49 states. And it's not just people cleaning closets.
It's like even photo organizing is now just a niche thing for professional organizers. Or tech organizing, where it's just your computer, your email, things like that.
Social media may also be helping business. Posts of spotless spaces are racking up the likes. Belmoff is surprised her studio went from looking like this to this in just a few hours.
This feels like a totally new apartment, and it went by really quickly.
And moving forward, she's hoping to keep her space decluttered and organized. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
And Nicole on our floor crew, standing right there, you can't see her. She will come to your house and
yes,
do it. No,
she would do it.
She's a great organizer.
Yeah. Could you do it, or would you need somebody to do it?
I can do other people's stuff. I got no problem throwing away other people's stuff. Like my wife and my two sons.
Yeah.
I can clear out their closet in a heartbeat. Yeah. It's my own stuff I sometimes have trouble parting with.
Exactly. We'll be right back.
Finally at 5, and be prepared to cover your eyes. A slobbery English bulldog is considered the ugliest dog in the world. Actually, it's kind of cute.
I know, I bet she's so cute. This is Jaja. She earned her title over the weekend in California. Her owner says Jaja was in a puppy mill for 5 years before being rescued. She won $1,500 and a trophy in the competition. The world's ugliest dog contest has taken place for 30 years to raise awareness about the benefits of adopting dogs. Like
she is kind of cute, isn't she?
I think so too. I love the
She has
teeth.
pink toenails.
Very find a place to put that tongue.
Very Jaja.
Cute little bulldog. All right, final check of the forecast.
Yeah, we've got temperatures that'll stay mild tonight, dropping down into the middle 60s by early tomorrow. We do have some showers and some thunderstorms in the forecast late tonight into the day tomorrow. After that is when we really warm up toward the weekend.
All right, we're back in 30 minutes for News 3 at 6. CBS Evening News coming your way next. Stay tuned.